Super Dimension Fortress Macross will redefine your outlook on mecha anime. This series takes some of my favorite elements from mecha series and combines it with great elements from drama and romance series as well. Set within a constantly evolving plot, Macross has relatively slow pacing to it, which breaks up the story into these mini arcs where we'll see a big event that happens and changes everything, and then the pacing will slow back down and show how these changes have affected the lives of all of the characters. Because of this style of storytelling, I feel that Macross hit that sweet spot where the pacing is slow enough that we can get development of the characters, but also enough big events happen that the plot changes a lot in the process. Macross is only 36 episodes, but the way that it's paced and the amount of detail that we're given in the story, it makes it feel like it's twice as long, and when it's over, you're going to wish that it really was twice as long. Macross begins when a massive, mysterious alien spacecraft smashes down, crashing into Earth, destroying everything in its path, and because this is humanity's first encounter with alien technology, efforts are made to restore this ship to its original form. Because of its size and advanced technology, it takes humanity many years to restore the Macross, and in that time, Earth sees many wars, and after about 10 years after the Earth is unified due to these wars, humanity can put all of their efforts into restoring this ship they now name the Macross. 10 years after the Macross crashes down to Earth, it's finally ready for its first initial trial run, and turning it on gets the attention of this race of aliens that were at war with the previous owners of that ship. Getting the attention of Earth, they use this technology called folding to warp over to Earth, and that automatically starts up the cannon of the Macross and shoots down some of their ships in space from Earth. So you can really tell in the beginning that this is a very powerful piece of technology that they have here, but this act actually starts a war that we will see go on for the rest of the series. Here we meet the main character, Hikaru Ichigo, a young aerobatic flyer with a strong distaste for war, who's obligated to get into a fighter pilot and jump into the middle of this battle to defend humanity from these aliens, and from here on out the war continues from Earth to space and back to Earth again as we watch Hikaru naturally become a better pilot and form very important bonds with other characters. One of the greatest strengths in the story of STF Macross is the amount of detail that they give, and cause and effect is clearly represented here. From the shoddy repairs on the Macross, things break and humans try to fix this with their antiquated technology that they have available to them, and they don't really understand this technology, so many times they use it to their own disadvantage, and because of this, they learn more about the Macross and are able to use it better in the process. And when it comes down to character development, it really feels like you're watching this realistic, living, breathing world where the characters feel like they're real people almost, because everyone's actions have consequences and people are just flawed, and it just makes it seem more realistic. There were times when characters would make such stupid mistakes that I was left cringing watching this train wreck of bad decisions unfold before me, but it's really understandable because a lot of the times you're either let in on the thought process of these characters, or you're showing their backstory so you understand why they feel this way, or they just have enough screen time that you can understand why they made these decisions, and it really does make them feel like they're actually real people. As you watch the major characters develop, you see all of the side characters and supporting characters get development as well, where a lot of bad things will happen to them, or you're taken back into their past and you're shown their pain, or you see a lot of great things happen to them, which you'll actually be happy for them, and then you'll see that the protagonists aren't the only characters that get development here, because the antagonists get it as well, and there's this big change that happens with the antagonist here that becomes a catalyst for other great changes within the plot of Macross. One problem that I have with many anime series is that they can just throw random things into the story and not explain any of it and just expect you to roll with it, and this isn't the case with Macross. I was pleasantly surprised with the amount of detail and explanation that we had with everything in the story. The only real problem that I have with the story of Macross is that they had a very poor understanding of how space works, but this was made in 1982, so I can definitely cut them some slack for that. The battles in SDF Macross were always enjoyable, ranging from small-time invasions of just a few enemy mechs all the way to having the Earth completely encompassed by enemy spacecrafts. We see that the death toll here is simply uncountable, and despite how many deaths, despite how many battles there are, despite how terrible war is, we're reminded of how beautiful life is, and how no matter how many times you lose everything, you can always rebuild. And for those of you who love romance anime, SDF Macross will not let you down. Hikaru has two main love interests, which make for this love triangle, and it's pretty complicated because both of these girls have completely different personalities, and depending on how the story's unfolding and how these characters are growing, you can feel differently, second-guessing your choice on who the main love interest should be. So there's a lot of changes with these characters, and you feel differently about them as the story unfolds. The elements of suspense, romance, drama, and action are given to you from that very first episode all the way up until the credits roll in the last episode, leaving me screaming for more Macross. And the only thing that's stopping me from just staying up all day, all night watching the OVAs, the movies, and other series that exist within this Macross universe is that I want to make this review with a fresh mind of the original series, and I really enjoyed watching this so much. It's not necessary to watch the other series. I had a complete experience watching this first series, but I guarantee you, you're gonna want more. Moving on to the overall presentation, this came out in 1982 and it looks beautiful for its age. There were some things that took some getting used to, such as the styles of the time. You'll see some characters here rocking a bell bottom. You'll see whatever hairstyles they call these, because there's some crazy looking hairstyles that you just gotta get used to. But once you get used to that, you'll see that all of the emotions of the characters were animated beautifully with their expressions. The fights were animated beautifully as well, where it actually makes you feel like these mechs have weight to them and it limits their speed, aside from one exception, which is Hikaru, but his personal strength is his agility as an aerobatic flyer, so that really is an exception because that's his personal strength. But moving on to the overall audio here, the audio was great. They chose a great set of background music for this because it's something that aged properly for me. It's something that I enjoyed listening to, and with some older anime I can just cringe when listening to their choice of music for it, but with this I didn't have that problem. I love the opening to this as well. I never once skipped that opening for all 36 episodes. I listened to it every single time. And whenever you would have this victorious moment in battle where they would play that Macross theme, I would get so pumped up for that. As far as the voice acting goes, I watched this with a Japanese voice acting. I don't think there's an English dub for this. I'm not sure, but either way, I would recommend to watch this with a Japanese audio because they beautifully portrayed the emotions that these characters were going through at the time. Moving on to my overall score, brace yourself because I give Super Dimension Fortress Macross a 10. This is a series that I recommend to everyone because it transcends the boundaries of the mecha genre and is something that I think that anyone would love. As an anime fan, I don't know how I went so long without watching Macross, and I'm so happy to see that it was such a great and refreshing experience with so many more movies and OVAs and series for me to just sink into with this story, and I really appreciate all of my subscribers that were recommending me this series, and also a few videos of Happy Console Gamer, and some of the things that he said about the series really made me want to get into it as well because it really did sound very good. So if you've seen Super Dimension Fortress Macross, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like it, and also share it with your friends. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.